Say hello. Say I did not want to take a nap today. Say hi. Hi. Are you cute? Say my name's Damien. Damien. Hi, welcome back to Catholic Home Life. My name is Lindsay, and today I am doing another video on this Catholic book club that we're doing, and there's a bunch of other Catholic YouTubers who are participating. So I will have their videos linked down below. Go and check them out. Today we are doing chapter 7, which is all about being a lifelong learner, and it's called School's Never Out. Which is true. In the beginning of this chapter, the author talks about how she wishes that she could live her college life over again and actually pay attention to the lessons that she was supposed to be learning and not just cramming it all in and studying for a test and not really retaining the knowledge. And I really related to that because now I'm so fascinated, especially by history. I love learning about history, and that's something that I didn't really pay much attention to when I was younger. So sometimes I'm envious of the time that I had in school and in college, and that I won't get that back. I suppose I could go back to school, but at this point, I think I'll just be self-directed and learn on my own, which kind of brings me to what I wanted to discuss in this video, which is that I am a homeschooling mom, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because as a homeschooling mom, I really feel like I get a chance at educating myself again. And it's so fun to teach my children, and I guess it's not always fun, but for the most part, it is really fun because it gives me the chance to read along with them and learn things that I never got to learn. I actually have a background in teaching, and I taught for 2 years. I taught junior high English and literature before I got married and had my first child, and then I've been at home with my children ever since. And because of that, when people hear that I homeschool and that I was a teacher, they are like, oh, well, you were a teacher, so you have that background and experience. And actually, I think that being a teacher has made it harder to homeschool, because when I first started teaching my oldest son, I remember trying to create an atmosphere that was like a school, and I even had him leave the house with a backpack on and knock on the door, and I was like, welcome to school, and he's like, Mom, this is really weird. And we sat on the floor and we did circle time, and there were just 2 of us, so you couldn't really make a circle. But anyway, it was just awkward and it felt really forced. And I realized that our home is a home first and foremost. And our home in the chapter it's mentioned that our home is a classroom in itself, but it's like a life classroom, and you don't have to have a physical classroom in your home to homeschool. I have since learned to try to shift things so that it feels more like a home. So we do a lot of our homeschooling at our dining room table, and then we also do a lot of homeschooling on our couch cuddled up together, because that's how it should be, and that's the relationship that you should have as a mom with your children. It isn't like a teacher, you're their mom. So I just think that I had to unlearn some things that I was used to doing as a teacher. Now, I think that I did benefit by having all the classes on childhood development and education. So I totally think that my degree was worth it, but I'm just saying that you don't have to have a teaching background to be a good homeschooling parent. And I want to encourage you, if that's something that you've ever considered, I think it definitely is a calling, and it isn't for everyone. But if you're feeling held back in any way, but deep down you do have a desire to homeschool, I think that you should really look into it and not feel like you have to have a background in teaching to be qualified. Being a parent makes you qualified automatically to be your child's first teacher. I remember with my first son, I tried to set apart our day so that we had school time and then playtime. And he really struggled with it and would complain a lot about having to do school. And I started just calling life. I said, like, this is the school of life. Instead of calling our school time school, I also started shifting and calling it a lesson. And so I would just pop in lessons here and there. And sometimes it was a cooking lesson, or here comes the baby. Here comes the baby. Yeah. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is you don't have to have a classroom, and you don't have to have like from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock. You don't have to have all the learning happen in that time, because the reality is that the kids are learning all day long, and it might not be math and writing and reading, but everything else that's life lessons, those are all really valuable too, and I think just as important as the 3 R's. Right, Damien? Yeah. I also really liked in this chapter where she talked about continuing your education as a mom in the faith and being really open to learning about the Catholic Church and the teachings of the Catholic Church, because as your kids get older, they're going to have a lot of questions and they will come to you with those questions. And she said you don't have to know everything, because that's impossible, but whoa. But to just have the tools of where to find the answers is really important. So knowing how to navigate the catechism and the Bible and, hi you. And having resources like the Doctors of the Church, writings from them, and other theologians, knowing where to find the answers for the questions that your teenagers will have. So I think that's really important. I try to always have some sort of spiritual reading happening in my life so that I'm always learning more about the faith. Don't you fall. Don't fall. Also, I think when you have children, it can feel like there's never time to read and to learn things that you're interested in. But there's a mom that I really admire, and she's a homeschooling mom. Ciao. This video is getting crazy. So there is a mom that I really admire. Her name is Julie Bogart, and if you know me in real life, I've probably already talked to you about her because I tell everybody about her. And she has a YouTube channel and she has videos, and she's amazing. She's a mom of 5, and she's finished homeschooling all of her kids. So she's kind of on the other side of it, and she has so much wisdom, and just, she's amazing. And even just parenting advice, she has a lot of wonderful knowledge to pass on. And anyway, in one of her videos, I remember she was talking about awesome adulting, and by that she was talking about how we as parents need to be a good example of what it means to be an adult, and that we should have hobbies and interests that we are constantly fostering, because that is showing our children that, wow, like it's really cool to be an adult, and look at all these things that mom and dad get to do because they're adults. And Julie Bogart recommends to do it in front of your children. So she talks about how she never read books by Jane Austen when she was younger, and then all of a sudden, I think she said she was in her 30s, and she had this interest to read all of Jane Austen's books, and she did, and then she wanted to watch the movies that were produced from the books, and her children did this right along with her. They didn't read the books, but they watched the movies, and it fostered an interest in one of her daughters to try to learn ballroom dancing. And this just showed me that my interests as a mom can help shape my children, and that I should have hobbies and interests that I'm constantly pursuing, because that's a good example to my children of what it looks like to be a lifelong learner. My advice to you is, if you have hobbies and interests, to do them in front of your children. Don't wait until nap time or bedtime for you to have personal time to foster these hobbies. You should do it right in front of your children, and that will really benefit your whole family. So I'd like to know in the comments below if you have any questions about homeschooling, or also if you would like me to do more videos about how I homeschool or curriculum that we use, things like that. I'd love to know if that's an interest that you have, because I would like to make videos that you are interested in. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you in my next video. God bless you. Bye.